First, I'd like to thank everyone for joining our presentation. We'll introduce you to some powerful crowdfunding concepts and show you how to fund your dreams and contribute to causes that you hold dear. I'm Rob Hall, and I'll be your presenter. I'm an author, educator, business consultant, and the editor-in-chief of the Hall Street Journal. I've researched many types of funding, and let me share something that I sincerely believe. The funding platform I'm about to introduce is the most revolutionary concept to come along in a very long time. Business school teaches that there are basically two ways to fund a venture: debt financing, as in a bank loan, and equity financing, as in selling part of your company to an investor. But today, we have a dynamic and new way called crowdfunding, and it's changing the lives of everyday people all over the world. Thanks to the internet, they're seeing their projects funded and their dreams come true. People are starting businesses, funding weddings, vacations, college tuition expenses, medical expenses, buying new cars, paying off mortgages, producing movies and music, digging wells in war-torn countries, and feeding children who live in poverty. In 2011, the crowdfunding industry did about $1.2 billion. In 2013, $6.2 billion, overtaking Facebook. In 2014, when the year was done, over $16 billion had been raised, and the World Bank estimates that the number will hit over $96 billion in just a few years. Crowdfunding is the new banking power, and it's literally going to change the world. It's already happening. So what is crowdfunding? The practice of funding a project or venture by raising many donations from a large number of people, typically via the internet. Let me share an example of how crowdfunding has helped people just like you and me. James Robertson is a guy from Detroit. His car broke down, and with no money for a new one, he walked 21 miles a day to get to work and back at a $10 an hour manufacturing job where he had perfect attendance. He did this for over 13 years until a 19-year-old saw his plight and started a crowdfunding campaign to get him a car. The story touched people all over the globe and raised over $350,000 for James Robertson to get a car. Ladies and gentlemen, that's life-changing. Or how about Natalie DuBose from Ferguson, Missouri? Her cake shop was badly vandalized in the Ferguson riots, but a crowdfunding campaign began with a goal of raising $20,000 to help her repair the damage and stay in business. The campaign for Natalie's Cakes raised over $270,000. I think Natalie's Cakes is gonna make it. One more example. Karen Klein, a 68-year-old bus monitor whose job was apparently to be bullied by 7th graders to the point of tears. Her abuse was posted on YouTube for the whole world to see and perhaps enjoy the fun. Except a 25-year-old nutritionist in Canada named Max did not think it was so funny. Max thought it was wrong and went to a crowdfunding site called Indiegogo to raise $5,000 to send Karen Klein on a vacation. But the video went viral. Karen's story touched people's hearts, and the campaign to send her on vacation raised over $700,000. By the way, Southwest flew her and 9 people for free to Disney, who gave her an all-expense-paid vacation for 10. So she was able to keep all of the money. A simple vacation campaign resulted in a much-deserved retirement. It's amazing. Crowdfunding provided a homeless man in Kansas City with over $178,000 simply because despite an easy opportunity, he didn't steal a woman's engagement ring. The list goes on and on. But I gotta stop and ask you, did all of this really happen? Yes. Was it made possible by government grants? No. Was it loans that needed to be paid back? No. Was it legal? Of course it was. And one more question. Would you like to share in some of this type of funding? Well, so does GoFundMe, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and all the other fundraising platforms. How much do they want? About 5 or 6% on average. Out of $350,000 raised for James Robertson, $17,500 went to GoFundMe. Of $270,000 raised for Natalie's Cupcakes, $13,500 went to GoFundMe. Of the $703,000 raised for Karen Klein's vacation, Indiegogo got over $28,000. That's about $60,000 in contributions to those campaigns that ended up in a place other than where the donors intended the money to be. Might seem small, but how many of you would prefer to keep that $60,000? Exactly. Look, if you're crowdfunding, it's because you need money, right? Losing 5% to corporate profits is detrimental to your cause. We understand that, and as a gift, we'll give you access to our crowdfunding platform absolutely free. We may be the only one of over 600 crowdfunding platforms that's willing to do this. 100% of direct donations come to you directly and immediately, whether you reach your funding goal or not, and without any fees. So no one's going to hold your money for days or weeks. Many companies also have an allotted time within which you must meet your fundraising goal or lose all donations. But there's too much work involved in getting $49,900 in donations to a worthy cause, only to give it all back because you didn't get the last $100. That's a little crazy, and we simply won't do it. So you've already stumbled upon a valuable opportunity: crowdfunding for free. The person who referred you can show you how to take advantage of that. Or if you weren't referred, just go to crowdfundmenow.org, provide your information, and we'll get you started. But understand that all of the examples I cited were traditional direct funding campaigns. They got phenomenal results because they harnessed the power of addition. Simple efforts resulted in extraordinary levels of funding for real people in need. 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15. But how many of you not only learned how to add, but also learned how to multiply? When you compare the two, it's easy to see that multiplication is powerfully different. 5 times 5 times 5 equals 125. We've seen the amazing things that can happen when donations are added. But just imagine what would happen if donations could be multiplied. Multiplication results in exponential growth. Ever heard the biblical principle, be fruitful and add? No, it's be fruitful and multiply. Even nature demonstrates the power of multiplication in that the makings of an entire forest can be contained in just one little apple seed. What if you had the opportunity today to set up a crowdfunding campaign in which you unleash the power of the crowd and multiply the number of donations you receive from it? How impactful would that be? And what if We not only gave you that opportunity, but also commissioned you to give that opportunity to other people so they could fulfill their dreams too. How many lives would you change? It's almost like a Midas touch. Somebody touches you and your campaign gets multiplying donations. Everyone you touch is able to multiply their donations too. And everyone they touch is able to do the same. This is what community crowdfunding looks like. It rests on the idea that instead of just adding campaign donations and keeping them all for yourself, you multiply donations by sharing them with others. The sharing is completely voluntary, but by sharing some of your donations with other members of the community, you open the door to other community members doing the same thing for you. This isn't a new concept. Before traditional home mortgages, people shared labor in much the same way. Neighbors got together and contributed the labor required to build a person's home. Each person contributed their effort, knowing that the same community would eventually come together and help them in the same way. Community crowdfunding is a community of people coming together to fund the hopes and dreams of its members. That's what it is. But let me tell you what it's not. Community crowdfunding is not a business or income opportunity. Our donation distribution formula is purely based on crowdfunding, and we make no claims or guarantees of the contributions that your project will receive. Each individual's project success depends largely on his or her commitment, desire, and personal efforts. That's what this and any other legitimate fundraising campaign requires. But the results of crowdfunding make the effort well worth it, especially when you consider the need. Over 92% of Americans today retire with less than $10,000 saved up. But what's worse is the number of Americans who retire from life and take their phenomenal ideas to the grave. Ideas that could have done great things, but never got going because they never got funding. Community crowdfunding is changing that. Traditional donation campaigns are good, but the projects that do the best already have a large database of people who know them. Some have an advertising budget. They may even have a team of people working to promote the project, and if they're fortunate, they'll be able to use the media to attract worldwide attention. But what happens when the campaign doesn't have all that? They fail. About 90% of all crowdfunding campaigns fail because when you're involved exclusively in a traditional direct donation campaign, you're basically on your own. You're on your own to create it. You're on your own to present it. You're on your own to promote it. And you're on your own to make it work. But our crowdfunding platform turns this idea on its head by making you a member of a community that's actively involved in supporting and securing donations for your project. We support one another by using an innovative platform that automatically places motivated donors in a community that can provide hundreds or even thousands of donations to your project. And the only thing we require is that you first contribute a small, one-time donation of up to $200 that will go 100% toward the campaign of the person or organization that referred you. That's it. There's no additional cost, no monthly cost, no yearly cost, no membership fee. As far as we're concerned, by giving that one-time donation to the cause of a friend or organization that you already know, you've done all you need to do to join our community. Get back with the person who referred you to this presentation, or if you weren't personally referred, go to crowdfundmenow.org and we'll get you started. Be sure to watch our companion presentation on the basics of our donation distribution formula and learn about one more little known but amazing crowdfunding story. Thanks for watching, and remember that together we can do great things.